सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Where did we stop yesterday? I think to know a wise person, you need to be wise. I think that finished, right?
Yeah, true.
Let me just check where we have to do.
Actually, we had to start the new verse.
Okay, we remember which verse it is?
Think 65.
No, I left at 65 few days ago. And
Must be 60.
the name Renal. Did we finish this darkness? Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam. Okay, we have, I think towards the end.
Or maybe we had to start with 67.
Did we not come to Apuryamanam Achala Pratishtam?
I don't think so.
Dr. Renu, would you remember which one we had to start?
No.
This is Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam. Did we do this? We did this last time, of course, yes, but the second time onwards.
No, we have not done this second
You've not
time.
done this now, huh? Second time you've not done.
No.
Tasmadyasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashah. Okay. Then fine. Let me go to verse 60. Vayurnava mivambasi. I think she read yesterday. Ah, 71 verse we need to read today. Okay. Thank you, Mrinal. Mrinal messaged me. I think she's on the YouTube. That's fine. So we're almost at the end of the Gita, of the chapter 2. That's what I remember because I missed noting down where we were. So 71 is the penultimate verse. Let me just go down there. Seven. Wait 1 second. Yeah. Yanisha, Esha Brahmi Sthitipada is the 72nd verse. Sorry, I'm keeping all of you waiting. Okay. Why am I getting 68th verse here? I don't know whether from 68th it jumped. It can't happen that way.
You have to read, I think, from 68 on. 60.
No, Mrinal messaged me just a while ago. You have to read 71.
But yesterday we were in the 60s.
What's wrong with this PDF? No problem. Let me go back and then um, I will start from here. Knowledge removes the notion of doership. Does knowledge remove the product of ignorance or does it remove the ignorance itself? Shankara deals with this question in his commentary on this verse. When knowledge takes place, the ignorance is removed. This knowledge, which is of the nature of a discriminative understanding between the real and the unreal, Atma Anatma Viveka Jnana is removed. Okay, she says it's 72 now. This knowledge, which is, thus when self-knowledge takes place, self-ignorance goes away. And when ignorance goes away, its broods, its products also go away. To take the classic example of seeing the rope as a snake, ignorance of the rope produces a snake. When the rope goes away, the snake also goes away. And when we may ask, does the rope ignorance go? When the rope is seen, when it is known, so when the rope is seen, when it is known, rope ignorance will go only in the wake of rope knowledge. Therefore, rope knowledge is the opposite of rope ignorance. When rope ignorance goes, anything that was there due to that ignorance will also go, because when the cause of a problem is removed, the symptoms also disappear. Similarly, for the person who has knowledge, all activity is gone. Such a person becomes a sarva karma sannyasi, one who renounces all karma. The Vedas sets out the karmas that have to be done, and Shankara clarifies as to who has to do them. The person who has such notions as, I am a brahmachari, I am a brahmana, I am a married person, I am bound by time, spring, new moon day, full moon day, morning, evening. The one who has these kinds of notions about himself or herself, the one who thinks that he or she is time bound, place bound, and group bound, is the person whom the Shruti, the Veda, addresses with reference to the performance of rituals. If the person knows I am Satchit Ananda, the Shruti does not address him or her at all. So the Shruti addresses only the doer, the Karta. In fact, it says, you are Satchidananda. But it reserves this particular statement for the last chapter, which is what we call Vedanta. Until then, the Veda talks exclusively about rituals and meditation, all of which are Dvaita dual. Only at the end of all this does it say, you are that Brahman, Tattvam Asi. Why should I perform karma? The question may then be asked. Why did the Shruti not say this in the beginning? If it had done so, I need not have done all this karma. I did the morning and evening prayers because the Vedas said to do them, and I had faith in the Veda. Now, I find that these karmas have become a colossal waste, because at the end of it all, the Veda tells me that I am Brahman and that karma is of no use. If karma will not give me moksha, why did it not say so in the beginning? This is exactly Arjuna's question as well. The reason the Veda does not tell you right in the beginning that you are Brahman is because you have to be ready for this knowledge. By performing karma, you are able to eventually get to the last chapter of the Veda and understand what it says. By not performing karma, you will neither be a jnani nor a devout person. You will only be driftwood and with no moorings whatsoever. The rule is that those who are not ready should not be disturbed with it. We will see this later in the Gita. Instead, people are encouraged to perform karma in order to prepare their minds for the knowledge. They are told about Swarga, heaven, in the beginning, so that they will perform the enjoined rituals for gaining Swarga. In this way, they will definitely avoid Papa and Punya will follow. The person who performs karma will have a value for dharma and adharma, right and wrong, and will come to believe that there is an Atma, a self other than the body. That much is enough in the beginning. So that little Atma Anatma Viveka is like just the beginning. Because they are told you do this ritual and you will go to Swarga. Who is going to Swarga? It's not the body. So there's something Atma, some other thing other than the body that is going to Swarga. So that much knowledge is enough in the beginning for any beginner. So therefore, the first part of the Veda enjoins a lot of rituals. If one is engaged in doing these, at least what is becoming, what is happening, then they are not engaging in papa producing actions. So that's the step, actually the step one. Then step two is that they understand that there is an Atma which is other than the body. And then you are following dharma, dharma, because you know papa, punya. That is why the concept of sin, of blessing and sin is important. Once you respect dharma, dharma, the ability to discriminate between the real and the unreal will not be far behind. To respect dharma, adharma is not to be swayed by your raga dveshas. Therefore, the pressure of raga dveshas will be less. This is what we meant. This is what is meant by Viveka. Viveka begins as soon as you start to question what is what. First, there is an internal leisure, and then Viveka naturally comes. Once Viveka is there, you will naturally turn to Vedanta. Only in this way can you proceed properly. Therefore, as long as self-ignorance is there, one should perform karma. Whereas, once there is self-knowledge, there is renunciation of karma, sarva karma sannyasa. Shankara repeats this argument throughout his commentary on the Gita. This is because there was a notion prevalent in his day that the Veda enjoins one to do karma and at the same time to gain the knowledge that I am Brahman. This position maintains that both will give you moksha and is refuted by Shankara at every opportunity. So that is what a common man's understanding is. Oh, Vedas are saying this. So Vedas must be, Veda is Veda. So even karma will give you moksha, jnana will also give you moksha. So that was the understanding. But Shankara refuted this at every possible opportunity to say karma is required to prepare the mind for moksha, but whereas it's only through jnana that moksha is possible. Or if either karma or jnana is adequate for moksha, why should anyone do the other? If moksha is something that I produce, why do I need jnana? And if karma is not going to produce moksha, there is no reason to do karma. If I am Brahman and I merely need to know it, which is Shankara's contention, then jnana is moksha. And I do not need to do anything. Thus the question, why should one do karma? The answer is that one performs karma in order to purify the mind for chitta shuddhi. Chitta means mind. We have seen the word shuddhi with reference to raga dveshas. Reality is already accomplished. It is not something to be created. Reality is. Whatever the reality, that is what is. It is a thing to be recognized. Therefore, even if you do millions of karmas, you do not create the reality that exists. Because of the prevalence in Shankara's time of the synthesis argument of combining karma and jnana, he goes all out to clarify the difference between karma and jnana. There are certain topics that every teacher has to highlight, given the views of his or her time. In Shankara's time, the jnana karma samuchaya vada, the contention that moksha is not gained by knowledge alone, but by a combination of knowledge and action, was widespread. Therefore, he found it necessary to refute it by continually pointing out the fallacies in it. This is the job of a teacher. Here also, Shankara points out that karma applied only until knowledge comes. For one who does not have knowledge, the karma enjoined by the Veda is a valid pramana, whereas for the wise person, it is not. Once the jnana is there, the person is a simple sannyasi, one who is not a doer, and therefore one for whom no karma is enjoined by any shastra. So it is like that. There's a previous verse which says, what is the use of a pond when there is water everywhere? So therefore, for a person who is wise, once jnana is there, for one who has knowledge, the Veda is not a valid praman. Whereas for the one who does not have knowledge, the karma enjoined by the Veda is a valid praman. Sorry, not the Veda not being a pramana. The karma enjoined is not a valid pramana for a person who is wise. A wise person cannot be emulated based on action. Since a wise person does not do karma, you cannot emulate him or her. You cannot say that because he or she does not do karma, you will not do karma. The wise person does not perform karma because the need to do so is no longer there. Like Ramana Maharshi, for instance. He was not doing anything, he was just sitting and meditating. So we cannot take that as the yardstick. To say that this person has no duty whatsoever could be interpreted by a mumukshu in such a way that he or she would not live a life of karma yoga and instead would become nothing more than a lazy person. This is why Krishna pointed out here that for a wise person, night is what is day for everyone else, meaning that no karma is enjoined. What is a means of knowledge pramana for you is not a pramana for the wise person. In fact, what Krishna was saying here is that for the wise, there is no pramana at all. Even the usefulness of the last pramana, Vedanta, is over for them. Vedanta says that you are Brahman. Until you know this, Vedanta is a pramana and afterwards it too becomes mithya. With knowledge, there is no means of knowledge, known or knower. The differences between these three having been swallowed. The pramana, the means of knowledge, is gone. It is Brahman, as are the pramata, the knower, and the prameya, the object to be known. The very knower is cancelled by the knowledge that says you are not a knower. So even the Vedanta becomes mithya for a person who has realized. Because the knowledge known and the means of knowledge, the object to be known, the knower and the means of knowledge, they all merge into one. In that Advaita state, there is no other. There is only one. And then you cannot have a knower. It means, because if there is a knower, that means there is something to be known. So then there is Dvaita, which cannot be. So therefore, the very knower is cancelled by the knowledge that says you are not a knower. Resolution of the knower-known knowledge. Shankara says that the final pramana, the statement Tattvamasi, itself goes away, having dismissed the pramana. An example generally given to illustrate how the knowledge works is the method of using a thorn to remove the thorn that is lodged in one's foot. Once the thorn is removed, we discard both the thorns. There is also a more interesting example used. When a body is cremated, a huge funeral pyre is made out of wood. If the person who died was rich, the pyre will be made of sandalwood, but this is the only difference. When the pyre is ready, the body is placed on it, covered with husks and small pieces of wood, and then the fire is lit. Once the body has caught fire, the people who came for the ritual all go away. But the ritual itself is still incomplete and continues the next day when the person performing the ritual comes to pick up the ashes and bones. This person is either the departed one's eldest son or a cousin, someone who is closely related. When this person comes to pick up the ashes, there should be no portion of the body left unburned. It must be burnt thoroughly. There should be nothing remaining but the ashes and bones. Until this happens, the ritual is incomplete. The person in charge of the cremation ground is the one who must ensure that the body is completely burnt, because the body is not to be touched and being in the fire cannot be handled. A stick is used for this purpose. Once the person is sure that the body is completely burnt, he throws the stick into the funeral fire. Having done its job, the stick also gets burnt. Similarly, the statement, you are that, Tattvamasi, is a pramana. The pramata, the knower, you, the jiva, is told, you are Brahman. If you are Brahman, there is no knower. After this knowledge takes place, the pramata is just an as though pramata. There is no real pramata anymore. When the knower is told, you are not a knower, you are Brahman, the knower is sublated. And when the knower is not there, where is the pramana? It too goes. All three, the knower, known, and means of knowledge, are understood to be Brahman. All duality goes in the wake of this knowledge, including the knower, the known, and the knowledge itself. The known, the prameya, is gone because there is nothing to know. Once knowledge takes place, all three, pramata, prameya, and pramana, become meaningless. Therefore, all the knower known knowledge activities resolve in the wake of the knowledge that I am Brahman. This is what Krishna meant when he said that what is day for everyone else is night for the wise person. This was alone conveyed by Shankara in his commentary. All translations, therefore, should be read with this meaning in mind. So they are as distinct as day and night. And we saw that day and night cannot coexist. When one is there, it means that the other is not. So as long as we are reeling in self-ignorance, that Advaita Bhava is not there. The moment there is knowledge, Dvaita does not exist. They mutually cancel one another.
What were the two words, pramatha and that
Pramana.
pramana?
Three words actually. Pramata, Prameya, and Pramana.
So no pramatha remains, it becomes that.
Yeah. Prameya is the known, object to be known.
Pramana
Is the means of knowledge.
knowledge.
Tattvamasi, all the Mahavakyas are all Pramana. They're all from the Shruti. So Shruti is the Pramana. Shabda Pramana is what we learned in the beginning, in introduction to Gita. So Shabda is the Pramana. Pramata is the knower. And Prameya is the object to be known.
Known. Okay.
So the knower,
Prameya and pramatha become same then.
they become the same. And also the Pramana. When there is when the knower and the known are the same, where is the existence of the means of knowledge? So even that dissolves. That disappears. That becomes mithya.
So beautifully explained by Shankara, Tattvamasi, really. When you understand it, that is the proof. Okay, Tattvamasi is the proof. But when you become that, means will not become, will know that Nana when it comes. This proof is not needed at all. Wow, beautiful. You are that. You are the being. You are the whole knowledge. So there is no anything needed to know. Knower is needed when there is something to be known. When you become that Tattvamasi, you are that. You are the knowledge. Knowledge is resolved in you. Means the knowledge, the known, and the knower, it is resolved in one. That Tattvamasi, really the beautiful sentence. Ultimately, it resolves in that being. Really beautifully explained. Really beautiful. Otherwise, we are stuck in that Tattvamasi. Okay, you are knowledge. You are that. Really, it was my take of today. Really wonderful. Jai Gurudev.
So emulate the values of a wise person. Any description of a person of steady wisdom, sthita prajna, is useless, really speaking. We can only talk about the wisdom, prajna, that makes a person wise. Unless you have this wisdom yourself, you cannot understand what a wise person is. A Mahatma knows a Mahatma, whereas one who is not a Mahatma cannot appreciate a Mahatma. Therefore, any description other than an unfoldment of the wisdom that makes such a person wise, is really meaningless. But still, Arjuna wanted a description. He also wanted to know how a wise person reacts to the world. In his response, Krishna told Arjuna certain things, including the fact that one cannot emulate a wise person except insofar as values are concerned. The wise person may not perform Vedic rituals. For such a person, these karmas are no longer necessary because the previous performance of the scriptural injunctions has found its fulfillment in wisdom. Whether the person has taken sannyasa or not, he or she is a sarva karma sannyasi. The doership is already negated in the person. There is no real doer. And when there is no real doer, there is no real karma. In this way, the wise person is not bound by duty of any kind. To emulate a wise person, therefore, is dangerous. Krishna mentioned the mind, values, control, and mastery of a wise person because these alone are to be emulated. In this way, Krishna confirmed for Arjuna that the characteristics of a wise person, as demonstrated in his or her interactions in day-to-day life, can become the means, the sadhana for a seeker. Patanjali also says this, the siddha. You can't just blindly emulate and follow the siddha's actions because the siddha is at a totally different level of non-doership. So therefore, this any description other than an unfoldment of the wisdom that makes such a wise person is really meaningless. See, any description of a person of steady wisdom is useless, really speaking. We can only talk about the wisdom, prajna, that makes a person wise.
And that wise person has already done that and he has got a wisdom from that. So he doesn't need to perform that again and again. So that's why if he is not doing, we should not do like that. Means such mentality should not be there.
Correct. See, that's what we read earlier. If you just do that, say, oh, he's not doing anything, so let me also not do, you'll only become a lazy person. You will be like driftwood without any moorings, no direction at all. Whereas karma is required. Why? Karma has its place in purifying the mind. For chitta shuddhi, until and unless you have that chitta shuddhi, where all the raga dveshas are neutralized, you will need to continue to perform karma. Which is why time and again Krishna was goading Arjuna to fight, stand up and fight, do your duty. I've given you Atma Jnana. That does not mean you should let go of your bow and arrow and leave the battlefield. Because Arjuna still had a lot of ragas and dveshas that he was entangled in. Therefore, a guru is required. Guru knows where is your level, what is your level. And he will guide you. Otherwise, if we just start reading these scriptures on our own, without, of course, the scripture here, this itself is the words of a guru, then you might just get lost in this quagmire. Because we will understand it according to our level of understanding. We may misinterpret the whole thing. So to emulate a wise person, therefore, is dangerous. Krishna mentioned the mind, values, control, and mastery of a wise person, because these alone are to be emulated. So let's just recollect, what is the mind of a person, Sthita Prajna?
That samatvam means that samatva is there, no ragadvesha.
Ragadvesha viyukta is right? And dukkeshvanudvigna manaha sukheshu vigata sprihaha vita raga bhaya krodha stitadir muniruchyate. So, irrespective of whether the situation or the outcome is sorrow filled or it is pleasure filled, he remains steady.
Not elated, not that sad
Not,
by things.
not sad, not engulfed by sorrow, all the three types of sorrow, adhyatmik, adi bhautik, and adi daivik. And he does not get overjoyed if something happy happens and he does not have the longing. That rasa is not there anymore. Vita raga bhaya, and there is no fear. And then what are the values of a wise person?
He is focusing on the self,
Right.
not on the Vishayas. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsah
Correct.
Sangat se Shupajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamat Krodho Pijayate. Because he knows that out of desire of the worldly things, there will be that krodha if it is not fulfilled. Or if it is fulfilled, then also there will be attachment.
Yeah. So the values actually, yeah, correct. Very right. So he's one who's meditating, who actually he is already realized. He does not, for him, Yanisha Sarvabhutanam Tasyam Jagarti Samyami. For him, what is day to ignorant people is night for him. And what is night for others is day to him. Because he is reveling in that Atma Tattva. He's reveling in that Advaita. And what is the control he has?
Raga Dvesha Viyukta. He
Right.
Senses control also there.
Control of senses like Kurmungani Vasarvashaha. And then Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Parthamanogatan. Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha. He is Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha. That is a characteristic. He is happy with himself, by himself. He does not need an external object or thing or a person to make him happy. And mastery. Mastery is again this Kurmungani Vasarvashaha. And these desires, as and when they arise, they do not create that that agitation in the mind. He's like that Apuryamana Machala Pratishtam. Samudramapa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kamaka. He also has that prasanna chitta, prasada.
I want to share something. In recent days, someone asked Gurudev, means in the satsang, which is the best memory. So he said, I am like a mirror. So it was when we were reading this all things, no, that sentence stuck, means that touched me. So there is nothing going to stick him. It's like a mirror. When you away from mirror, mirror doesn't have anything.
Right.
It was so beautiful, and same you told now also doesn't bother or whatever happens. Same, he's Atma. He's in Atma, that Atma Tattva, and he's happy always. He's
He's
Anandayan. Huh.
his nishtha is there. He is yukta also. He's not shaken by the storms of situations.
Chalam.
Mhm.
So because these are the ones need to be emulated, not the actions of a wise person. Because actions may differ. Like there may be unmatta, ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam, ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyaha, ascharyavat chainamanya shrunoti shrutvapyenam ve. Of course, this is not the appropriate verse, but then the wise, enlightened people, their actions might be different from one to the other. There may be some like those, like Ramana Maharshi, for instance, just sitting and meditating, saying nothing, hardly saying anything. Or there may be people like Gurudev, very dynamic, going all out. There may be some just meditating. So you can't really emulate the actions of a wise person. That can be dangerous because that differs from one wise person to the other. But their values, their control, the state of their mind, that needs to be emulated. In this way, Krishna confirmed for Arjuna that the character, because Arjuna's initial question was Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha. Kim prabhasheta, kim asita vrajeta kim. He wanted to know, how does he speak? How does he talk? How does he walk? So Krishna got to know the, the principle that Arjuna wanted an answer to. And therefore, that is what he focused on. In this way, Krishna confirmed for Arjuna that the characteristics of a wise person, as demonstrated in his or her interactions in day to day life, can become the means, the sadhana for a seeker. Finally, Krishna said that a wise person is as different from an ajnani as day is from night, meaning that there is no way of unfolding what a wise person is. What is night for all the people is day for the wise, and what is day for them is night to the wise. Arjuna was bound to be flabbergasted by this. He was definitely not going to be any wiser for having heard this particular verse. Therefore, out of sympathy and compassion, Krishna followed his night and day example with another example, an illustration that Arjuna could hold on to, and one that would enable him to appreciate in a way what a wise person is. Apuryamanamach. Apuryamanamatala pratishtam samudramapah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantimapnoti na kamakami. Maybe we are repeating this third or fourth time, maybe, but I think these are important verses. Apuryamanam, brimful. Achala pratishtam, without any motion, well grounded. Samudram, into this ocean. Apaha, waters. Yadvat, just as. Pravishanti, enter. Tadvat, so too. Sarve, all. Kamaha, objects. Yam, the one, the wise person into whom. Pravishanti, enter. Saha, he. Shantin, peace. Apnoti, gains. Kama kami, the desire of objects, na, not. Apuryamanam, achala pratishtam, samudram apaha yadvat pravishanti, tadvat sarve kamaha yam pravishanti, saha shantim apnoti, kama kamina. Just as water flows into the ocean that is brimful and still, so too the wise person into whom all objects enter gains peace, remains unchanged, whereas the desirer of objects does not gain peace. There are two adjectives describing ocean in this verse. The first one, apuryamanam, refers to the ocean being totally filled with water. It requires no more water to be full because it is already filled to the brim. The second adjective, achala pratishtam, describes the ocean as not moving from place to place in the same way as a river does. Thus, the ocean is not only full, but being without motion, it is also well grounded. The verse also gives some more information about the ocean. While a pond depends upon a source of water for its existence, the ocean does not depend upon any other source of water for its fullness. It does not depend upon the rain for its oceanness, unlike the rain clouds that depend upon the evaporation of the ocean water for their cloudness. Nor does the ocean depend upon any entry of water. It does not become an ocean because river water enters into it. Thus, to be brimful, it depends on no other factor, no other source of water. The glory of the ocean, then, is within itself alone. Water enters the ocean from all sides in the form of rain and rivers. But does the entry of these various forms of water bring about any change in the fullness of the ocean? If it does, then we can say that the ocean is not full, that it depends upon other sources for its oceanness. And if no change is brought about by the water entering into it, then the ocean is full by itself, and the non entry of water will make no difference in its fullness. By itself, then, the ocean is full of water. Because it does not depend upon any source of water for its fullness, neither the non entry nor the entry of water makes any difference to it. The ocean is not after the entry of water, nor is it afraid of water entering into it. It has no fear of becoming flooded and thereby losing its name, ocean. Nor, in order to be ocean, does it covet water. It is Vita Raga Bhaya. There is no bhaya, nor is it afraid of water entering into it. It has no fear of becoming flooded and thereby losing its name, ocean. Nor, in order to be ocean, does it covet water. So much of contemplation you could do sitting near the ocean. A pond, on the other hand, does depend upon rain or some other water to be a pond. If a pond is dependent upon a particular spring underneath it, for instance, all that is required for it not to be a pond is for someone to put bore wells all around. The water table will go down, the spring will go dry, and there will be no water in the pond. A pond can also cease to be a pond if too much water enters into it. If its banks are broken, there will be water everywhere. No one will know where the pond is unless they are wading in the water and suddenly step into it. Therefore, a pond will no longer be called a pond if there is too much water entering into it or if no water enters into it at all. Such changes are possible for a pond, whereas an ocean undergoes no change whatsoever, regardless of whether water enters or does not enter. The wise person, just as the fullness of the ocean is not affected by the entry or non entry of water, so too the wise person's peace of mind is not affected by objects that enter the mind. These objects enter into such a person just as water enters the ocean, but he or she is not affected by them because, like the ocean, the wise person is full for no other reason than fullness being his or her own nature. Is that Purna Atma, Ananda Atma. Everyone has this sense of fullness, if only for the time being, when something desirable happens. But eventually, the person finds himself or herself not full. A wise person, on the other hand, does not depend on anything for his or her fullness because the self is already full, like the ocean. The self is Ananda, it has no limit. Thus, recognition of the self is the very reason for the person's being full. I am is fullness. I am fullness. If I am fullness, then the meaning of the word I is not found in a limited factor like the body, mind, or senses. Therefore, the I should be understood as it is, and it happens to be Ananda. The wise person is one who is happy without depending upon any object or situation. Like the ocean, he or she is full by his or her own glory, by his or her own nature. The fullness of a wise person, the ananda of the person, is not going to increase because of the entry of some desirable objects. And if such desirable objects do enter, the wise person does not lose anything. In either case, no change is brought about in the person. He or she remains unchanged. If desirable objects enter into the head of a person who is not full, they create havoc in the person because they have to be gained, experienced, or owned, and there may be no way of doing so. Therefore, the person smarts, sweats, frets, and fumes. When a person looks upon himself or herself as one who is lacking, desires only cause problems. And if such a person is told to give up all desires, he or she cannot do it. Unless one is full, desires cannot be given up. They go away only when the person is full. Even if desires do enter the head of a wise person, they do not create any problems because whether the desires are fulfilled or not, it is all the same to the person. Stop here. There is this beautiful verse that comes before this, that which says the ragadveshas, the interconnectivity between the ragadveshas and this self-knowledge. So when one is pursuing self-knowledge, ragadveshas slowly start getting diluted. And then when ragadveshas, when one attains self-knowledge or one realizes the self, Ragadveshas are completely neutralized. All this Gurudev gives us in just one beautiful point, the happiness point. He's actually distilled the whole of the Gita into just those 5 sutras. It's amazing. So we'll need to read from The Demise of One's Emotional Yo-Yo tomorrow. Page 231. Any sharing? Everybody? One sentence, one takeaway sentence.
I am that sugar, so there is no craving for that sugar now.
Right. Very nice.
The ocean doesn't require anyone to fulfill it or something. Means it is full, always full, like those, the wise man is full. Means we can equate now that depth and everything for remaining the happy or oneself. Means there is no two
Atmanyev
of them.
Atmana Tushtaha.
Ah, mm.
Karma
With
yoga,
yeah, go
knowledge.
ahead.
Sure.
Please go ahead.
No, I was saying that karma yoga, along with knowledge, leads to moksha.
Yes. Importance of doing karma and to emulate the characteristics of a wise person, not the wise person himself, not the actions of a wise person, the values, the mind, the control of a wise person, the mastery of the senses. And with or without, one is happy. So you don't need any external object, event, person, relationship to be happy. You are happy. You are happiness.
He is
Anand
happy for himself, by himself.
by himself. Yes. And the resolution of the knower known and object to be known and the means of knowledge. All that merges, just like how in the death on the death pyre, because you should not be touching the body, they stoke to know whether to check whether the whole thing is burnt. They use a stick. Ultimately, even that stick is dropped into the fire. So everything becomes ashes. So everything dissolves into one, that Advaita. We'll stop here today. Let's contemplate on these till we meet up tomorrow. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Oh, I'm so sorry. I think I did not share the uh, optimize the video for sharing. Anyway, the meditation is done. If you're okay to stay on for another few minutes, I will share it properly so you can do the meditation. Just give me a second, huh? Sorry about that.
Is accepting this moment, living meditation, is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Except those parts of the body where you feel a tension, the other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort.